And I'm going to try to multitask as always and like look at both things, and we'll see how that works. All right, we're redirecting. Okay, here we are. All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us here on Whole List Curate Your Health. It is a brand new decade. We are 2 days in, and it is really exciting. A lot of us have some anxiety around the new decade. A lot of us are just excited. A lot of us maybe didn't even notice anything changed. But I just wanted to bring on, some of my favorite people on here tonight and just say hello, and to offer you from a coach and client perspective, what Holist is and what we do. Obviously, I'm Heather Hammerstedt. I created a lifestyle transformational blueprint around food and around mindset around food based on the tenets of lifestyle medicine, how we can all change the way that we think about our self story and who we are with food and what and when we and why we eat, to create the bodies and minds that we want for sustainable health futures. And I've created an awesome team around me. 3 of them are here. Katie is one of our weight coaches. Jenny is one of our mindset coaches. She's a hypnotherapist. Sean is our neuro coach, mindset coach. And 2 of our former clients, Lori from Cleveland and Liz is here from Boise. If you guys just want to, say hello and introduce yourself, anything you want to say, and then we'll just sort of dig in a little bit on what we have experienced through the Holist lifestyle so that people know a little bit more about what we do. Anyone can hop in.
I can start.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. As your first client, I feel like it would be appropriate that I start. I was the first client, in the first cohort that went through, and Heather just blew my mind with all of the science of weight loss and how easy it really was, and honestly how wrong I'd been doing it for so long. And I was at a time in my life when I felt like I couldn't keep doing what I was doing and feel good about it. And I was all gung-ho, ready to like change everything in my life. And she said, wait. You can ease into this change. You'll be way more successful. And you will, these would be habits that you can sustain for your whole life because it's nothing crazy. It's nothing ultra restrictive. And then applying all of the mindset work to everywhere in my life has been really helpful in reframing how I think about the things in my life and my responses to it. And now I'm a coach. Sorry, I should. Yeah. Now I'm a coach.
And she's the best, the best like practical information and how to fit it into like real life with little kids. I know Liz and Katie and I are in it with these tiny people. And so figuring out how that works is tricky. So yeah, Sean, what about you?
Well, this has been a lot of fun, Heather, just, in the last month and a half, I think, since we've been working on this together. I really think you've done a great job putting together a super program that is transformative. And that's really what attracted me to it, because my approach to my patients is to help them to transform their lives. And so a lot of weight loss programs out there are just about putting a Band-Aid on things and trying to kick the can down the road. They don't really get to the root causes of why people behave a certain way. And I think that you've just done such a great job, rewording things in such a way that is very appealing to people, that helps them to realize they can make some really, healthy, long-standing changes in their lives for the better. And it looks like we've got plenty of evidence that it's working. So yeah, that's a great thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I obviously, so I'm an emergency medicine physician, lifestyle medicine physician. I kind of back-ended into weight loss. Like I didn't ever think that this is what I was going to be doing. But what I realized is that by using the evidence of how you can prevent and reverse disease in the long end actually ends up with you with the side effect of, losing weight. And so like, I don't think about what we do as weight loss, although that's the side effect of what we're doing. It's figuring out, where the science of neuroplasticity and how we rewire our brains and think about who we are and why we choose the things that we do, mixed with, the actual science of, food and how we digest it and how our whole bodies are just so amazingly complicated and mixed together. It's been really, really fun, and we're happy to have you, Sean. So
thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Liz, tell us a little bit about you.
So I, also, I have two little boys, super busy. My job can be really stressful from time to time. And I was fortunate enough to find Holist and this program around April and go through the program shortly after the birth of my second son in a place where I was, scattered to say the least, a little bit nervous about life in general, and struggling with how to get my whole kind of self back to where I wanted it to be and figure out, how it could be. Um, and, I was amazed by the program. It was so wonderful. I wasn't, sure at the outset what to expect, right? Because, I have tried so many different ways to be healthier and find something that I can stick to. But all too often, you're stuck trying this crazy hard workout, which honestly makes you feel bad at the beginning because you can't even do it, right? Or following a super strict diet. And I feel like there weren't options that I had even come across that looked at your whole body and all the different components of what goes into it and isn't restrictive because it's really tailored to each person. It's not you can only eat these foods. And it's not you have to do this crazy exercise, but it also incorporates, hey, let's listen to your body and see how your body reacts to certain things. And, you know, having the flexibility to figure out what works for me and understanding why was a huge motivator, which also helped shift kind of my mindset and, make me realize this can work. And as of today, you know, I, well, from April to June, I lost about 30 pounds with Holist, which was phenomenal. And I felt so much better about my body and just like actually could do this. It was very empowering. Um, and as of today, I mean, that was in June. I'm 2 pounds less than I was when I finished the program. And I just got off the holidays, guys. I'm not the person that's going to come on here and say, thank God for Holist. I don't even like the taste of wine anymore. Like, that's not me, you know? But
Yeah.
I learned how to be flexible and I learned how my body reacts and what it takes to maintain a healthier lifestyle. And it's, all these tools. I'm just, a normal person trying to be healthy and feel good about myself and my body and my family. It's
Yeah,
just been
that's awesome.
phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's building what I call skill power, right? Is getting over the idea that any of this is willpower and realizing that our bodies and our brains are so complicated that what we need to do is understand why it is that our body is doing the way that it is, and what are the skills that we need to get it to do something that we want the results for. So, yeah, thanks. It's lovely to see you. Lori, how are you?
I'm great. All these accolades of your program make me feel like I'm lucky to be here to even say that I've been through it. And I took a whole different approach. If I was going to jump in it, I was going to do it with a whole mind, body, and soul approach, which I guess if most people try to dabble in it, and I decided if I was going to invest my time and effort, I was going to learn this program and how we all needed to eat better and make sure this is a lifestyle choice. And that's what I learned, especially was that I've failed at many different diets, but this one certainly resonated. And on the daily podcasts that we received, everything started to make sense. And as we went from week to week, it became more and more apparent how manageable this was to be able to put it in your life for a long-term commitment.
Yeah, and I love talking to you. When we talked a couple of weeks ago when you were finishing up your program and you're like, well, I just did it. I was like, you did it. Yeah. And I was like tearing up when we were talking because you were saying that it changed your life.
Mm-hmm. It
Which is,
has.
yeah.
And I've lost 50 pounds from it.
Yeah.
So I understand that that's maybe more than most, but it's a motivator to understand that if you eat right and you take care of your body, everything comes together within this.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Heather. So I'm Jenny Harps. I'm an alchemical hypnotherapist and a bunch of other things, a craniosacral therapist. I specialize also in communication. And I met Heather on Heather, you're frozen. Are you frozen there? Yeah, you're frozen. I met Heather on the Payette River. I was driving from Boise up to McCall a week before we moved to Bozeman, where I live now. And she like fell from the heavens. Basically, she was there with her kids and her husband. And whoops, we just lost. There you are.
Yeah.
And she, I don't even remember how we started talking, but she said she was an ER doc and she was starting a really a medically based weight loss program. Is that okay to say that? You want to say it in a better way?
Yeah. Lifestyle coaching is, yeah, we don't do any medicine.
Right. We don't do any medicine, but all of her knowledge is there.
Yeah.
So I said, I've been working with the subconscious mind. I've been working in the body mind realm for now 28 years. I've always wanted to work with doctors. And that's how we connected. I feel so lucky and so blessed to work with this because of that. What I've discovered as I go through the program, so I'm going through the program in the background, not day to day the way that Lori and Liz and the other clients have, because I have a full life over here. And what I'm discovering though is that this is like signing up for a 12-week university course. It really is. It's so packed with grounded information and body mind practices to put together with that. And you walk side by side with a weight wellness coach like Katie every week, 12 weeks. You meet every week with her. You meet before the program with Heather, and you don't start the program unless you're really ready, unless Heather and you determine that you're really ready to, and then Heather meets with you at the end. And you see your mindset coach 4 times. Whenever you determine you're kind of ready for it, you make an appointment with your mindset coach. I meet 4 times with them. So we don't hold your hand, but we sure walk beside you the whole way. Everything is in this program to bring your life under your command, to guide it in the direction you want it to go. Your food, your schedule, your boundaries. I mean, it's all there. It's very holistic. It's a beautiful, beautiful program, and I'm loving working with my clients.
Thank you. We love having you. So I, like I said, this blueprint came out of my brain, but came out of 20 years of me putting my hand up for things over and over again. Medical acupuncture, Ayurveda, integrative nutrition, health coaching, and then not to mention 15 years of clinical practice as a physician. But I put it all together because it's like the best mix of like me being like the reformed hippie and me being like super like nerdy, right? And so it's like trying to figure out like what's the best way that we can approach this problem, that actually like food is related to 80% of our preventable diseases. And so it is like just absolutely essential that the people that Katie and I see at like 3 a.m. in the emergency department, like we could keep them from having these problems if we could all get them to do a holistic approach, right? So what I did was put together this 12-week program. Every day you get podcasts around weight science and mindset around food. We work a lot on this neuroplasticity. So trying to rewire your brain, master your brain when it comes to how you think about yourself and how you think about the food that you use. Because if it was just the food, right, we wouldn't have all been in the situation that we're in. So daily podcast documents and visuals, and then personal coaching with a personal weight coach and a personal mindset coach. We also do have group options, which are available occasionally as well. As Jenny just mentioned, I do get on the phone with every single person. And the reason why I do that is because I want people to not waste their time and not waste their money if they are not ready to completely change their life. And so I talk to everyone for 45 to 60 minutes. we decide if it's right for them. Sometimes I just give people like a little bit of homework and they come back to me in a couple of weeks when we feel like they might be more ready. Um, and and then bring them in and assign them to the coaches that seem like they're going to be the best fit for them. And so I am always available for these strategy calls. I have it in the Facebook group, and I will link underneath this about how you guys can sign up for me. There's no pressure on these calls. We're really just trying to figure out your why, who you are, what's broken, and figuring out if you're the person that we can 180 degrees change your life in 2020. So please put your hand up for that. If you're watching and you've been wondering, what the heck is Hammerset doing? I'm waiting to get on the call with you. So it's really great. So Sean, do you have anything else you want to add from your neuro coaching? We're here in the beginning of 2020. Anything you want to add for our listeners?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think I would just echo Jenny's sentiments, and the way that you just the universe popped you into my life, it was so perfectly timed. Really, I had been doing a deep dive with a friend of mine who's a neurologist also, who has diabetes, and for about 4 months, just really went into the science of the hypothalamus, the satiety centers of the brain, the structures, the networking, the neurons that control the way that we feel and the decisions that we make, and all of that surrounding eating. And then here you come with all of this fresh new knowledge. It's so perfectly timed. And I guess the way that I'm looking at maybe the next decade is that we now have these incredible tools that we can bring to bear as a team on one individual, and really personalize an approach using the collective knowledge of this amazing group. I think just looking at the way that Katie has taken to it, and now nobody teaches something as well as when they've gone through it themselves.
Yeah.
And looking at Jenny has an amazing just depth of knowledge and insight, and this wonderful way of approaching things that is, again, so holistic. So if anybody is out there listening and they're frustrated with all of the approaches that they've tried before, with the yo-yo diet, with the fatigue, the frustration, that hangry brain that they get, this is a completely different scenario. And the way that you approach shedding extra weight is such a nice way of looking at it. And from my perspective, to me, extra weight is simply just partly a brain disorder, and if we get everything in line and lined up, the brain just works better, and then the body does. So
yeah, it's been so first of all, what you said about the holistic aspect, I think it's a great example. So Jenny and Sean and I did a training in the coaching Facebook group, in the secret group, on what crunch means, and just like having my nerdy brain, and then like Sean makes me look not at all nerdy, you're like amazing, and then we have Jenny talking about her chakras, and it was just like the perfect example of how I think, like, the reason why I chose the name holist, right? So it's, in medicine, we're hospitalists, we're laborists, we're cardiologists, we're gastroenterologists, and this is holist, right? It's the whole person. And we're specializing in that whole person, but we've got to do that as a team. So that's why, we've assembled all these folks together. Yeah, that's great. So yes, I am available for 45-minute strategy calls. They're totally free. I know that I know Lori and I talked for a long time before she came into the program. Really what it is just trying to figure out, who you are, what the issues are that you're having, what has worked for you, what has not worked for you. And most importantly, I always want everyone to get to their why. Because if this was something we could fix by knowing the number on the scale that we wanted to get to, if that was motivating enough, we wouldn't have all ended up in this situation. So it's figuring out really why do I want to be changing my life, so that in the moment when you're making those decisions, that things just make a lot more sense. There is a video in the Facebook group, in this public Facebook group, Curate Your Health. If you just search for why, it'll come up. I'm sitting in my car, and it's just like a 3-minute video that gives you some homework on how to do that. So if you haven't done that video, please do that. And I'm really thankful for all of you guys for being here. I'm going to put a link into the comments here about how to reach me for that strategy call. Anybody can also just personal message me as well, and I will get right back to you. This is, a hugely important time in our lives right now, starting a new decade. We're starting fresh. Trying to figure out, what is next, leave all of the dirtiness behind and figure out, who we want to be. So thank you again. And personal message me if you want to call. And thank you, Sean, Lori, Liz, Katie, Jenny, for taking the time out of your evening to share you with our viewers and all of our friends in the Facebook group. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.